Today we're going to take a look at the Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight in Spy 27. Now this is a knife that I've had for about a year, but I just have never gotten around to carrying it. But I have carried it for about the past 6 weeks. And we're going to talk about some of its strengths, some of its weaknesses. Before we get into this knife, I'm going to show you my favorite lightweight, and that would be this one here. I got these translucent blue handles, and I put black hardware on it and a black pocket clip, and I put my Manix 2 Lightweight S90V blade in there. This is one of my favorite steels. I do really like MagnaCut, and they have a new one available in MagnaCut with yellow scales and black hardware. But this combination, this is my favorite color. These things are awesome. You look at these under the light. Let me get a flashlight out. They're just awesome what they look like with a little bit of light shining through them. That just kind of mimics a little bit about what it'll do with natural sunlight. Now, modifications that I've made to here, I've lightened the spring up a little bit. I've put a ceramic ball in it. So this one is very corrosion resistant. Excellent knife. Spyderco heat treated the S90V very hard. This thing holds an incredible edge and a very toothy edge, which I like a toothy edge, a 600 grit edge to be specific. And then my favorite Manix 2, regular Manix 2, would be this one here. I put Rockville titanium scales on it. I believe this was a critter pattern. It has all bronze hardware. As you can see, I like the stock pocket clip, titanium ball cage, and I put a medium weight spring in it and a ceramic ball. Just really nice action. This one is just perfect. This is an M390. MagnaCut is all the rage right now. But I'll tell you what, this S90V holds a better edge. This M390 is about the same thing as MagnaCut run hard. So you have the same edge retention here. You have a nice sticky edge, which MagnaCut also takes. You have the same corrosion resistance. What you lose with M390 is a little bit of toughness, which in a pocket knife like this is perfectly acceptable. So if you have a knife like this in M390 or one like this in S90V, there's really not much of an upgrade or not much of a reason to get another one in the latest and greatest steel when what you have is already perfectly serviceable. Now, with that to the backdrop, let's take a look at this Spy 27. I have also taken this knife apart and I cut, I think, 2 rings off of this spring because as they come, they're a little bit too stiff. I like the action to be a little bit lighter. And this is just perfect now. I love the job that Spyderco does on these lightweights. I actually like these as much as the standard Manix 2. They're very strong, it's really durable, very lightweight, super grippy. This volcano pattern on here is excellent for grip. The action on them is superb. This ball cage lock, this ball bearing lock is really strong. It's just a great lock. So my concern with this, and one of the reasons I never carried it, is it seems like they're still making the majority of their blades in S30V, and you have to pay a little bit more money for the Spy 27. I thought they were going to promote Spy 27 over S30V and put this in their main production knives. But that never happened. This steel stays at a little bit of a premium. Now, if you go and look up different tests, you'll find this seems to come in edge holding wise maybe a hair under S30V, somewhere between S35V and an S30V. So it's that class of steel. Looking at the composition of Spy 27, you can see right there, CPM Spy 27. It's very similar to VG10. This almost seems like it's a powder metal version of VG10, which does increase the performance and the toughness of the steel quite a bit. Now, one thing that I have found with Spy 27 is it takes and holds a very good toothy edge, which I like, which these two knives I sharpened to a 600 grit finish. And then maybe just run a couple passes on the strop just to clean it up with around anywhere from 8 to 16 micron. Now this knife I carried for 6 weeks. And if you take a look at the edge, you'll still see some shiny spots and some dull spots. I've touched it up once with a 600 grit stone, and that edge is still really toothy. It's got an excellent working edge on it. I haven't had to do any more than that. I used the factory edge for about 3 weeks, and then I hit it on the 600 grit stone, maybe 6-8 passes on each side. I didn't do much to it, and that's why you still see most of that factory grind on there. I didn't take all the ridges and stuff off. I just did the bare minimum that was necessary to bring that back up to a nice sticky sharp edge. And then I used it for the remaining 3 weeks of the test. This is cut rope. This is cut mountains of cardboard. It's just done a lot of work for me. Stripped wires, because I'm an IT guy, also do carpentry, electrical work, plumbing work, just about anything. So this gets used in the trades for that type of work. And this has just been phenomenal. I've really been impressed by the Spy 27. Now let's take a look at where it is. Still cuts paper pretty good, but it's a little bit jagged. You see a little bit of hair. It's not super smooth. That's really smooth. That's the S90V blade. So that's not too bad for 6 weeks of carry and only being touched up once. Now these knives get better after you sharpen them a couple times and you bring the steel back a little bit, because the factory edge, you usually don't get your maximum edge holding right away, because when they sharpen these, the edge gets heated up and it may take 3 or 4 sharpenings before you get into the area where the steel is fully hardened. So all that considered, excellent performance. This is ready to be touched up again. I'm going to hit this on 600 grit one more time. I left the factory angle, but it's definitely due for a touch-up. Now you could keep going using the knife like it is. It still has a really good working edge on it, and there would be no problem just putting this back in my pocket and continuing to use it. But if you let it get dull, then it's going to take more to maintain. Right now this knife is at the point where I could do the same thing as I did after the first 3 weeks. All I have to do is put this on the 600 grit stone, half a dozen passes or so on each side, and this will be ready to go at full sharpness again. That sticky edge that this knife took really amazed me. It amazed me that it took such a good sticky edge and held that for a long time through whatever I was cutting. That sticky to toothy edge makes cutting things a breeze, where a smooth or polished edge will slide over surfaces. That toothy edge just bites in and cuts and rips right through. So I do highly recommend Spyderco's Spy 27 steel. If you're able to get a knife with Spy 27 at a decent price, I would go for it. Now, would I pay a $40 or $50 premium that they're charging over S30V for Spy 27? No, I would not. There's not enough difference between the two steels. So if you're happy with the performance of S30V, save the money and just get one of the Spydercos in S30V. But like I said, if you happen to come across a good deal on one of these ones in Spy 27, even though technically S30V is going to hold a little bit longer edge, I like the toothiness of this edge. This gets more bite on it. And I do prefer this to S30V or S35VN. Excellent knife, excellent steel, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to test it. So those are my thoughts after my initial 6 weeks of carry. I would like to carry the knife longer, but you know how it goes for knife people. We always have other things to test and to try. So I will be moving on from this knife to the next one that I want to test out, which I'll give you a preview. That would be this one right here. If you know what this is, leave that in the comments below. You can expect to see a review of this knife in the coming weeks after I have some time to carry it. We'll see you on the next one.